Hey guys, Scott here. Today I want to talk about an increasingly discussed thing in the community, which is the offensive use of Decisive Strike. Obviously, Decisive Strike got a huge buff recently, where it is now back up to 5 seconds, and it actually has some use for the average player. Again, I remember it was good for very good players, but the average player made very little use of it. So the fact that the average player can now make better use of it means we're seeing a lot more of it. And with that, we're seeing another rise in offensive decisive strikes. Now, offensive decisive strikes are essentially ones where the survivor will try to take hits knowing that they have this essentially immunity shield to getting actually put on a hook again. And so they'll use that to body block, typically right off the hook. This is something that we did have to deal with in the past, and it has the same counterplay now as it did then. As an aside, though, I would like to, again, post the same idea to behavior that when you are unhooked, you simply lose collision for 3 or 4 seconds. Seems like a really simple no-brainer change. That way you can't do this, and no one ever has to worry about offensive DS use ever again. Again, really simple. Just make it so you lose collision for 5 seconds or whatever after getting unhooked. And that fixes all these issues. But let's go into it because that's not how the game currently is, and I know people would like help in dealing with that. So an offensive DS is when you unhook or when someone gets unhooked and the unhooked person basically runs into you and tries to mitigate a hit for the person that unhooked them, knowing that even if you try to down them, they have DS and they can just get themselves right back up again. So first of all, this is only really possible on certain maps or in certain weird hook placements. If you're on like Larry's or Hawkins or, Midwich or RPD or something where the hooks are in very skinny rooms, it is kind of possible to straight up block a hallway and make it so the killer cannot pursue otherwise. That is something that can happen. But most maps are not like that. Most maps, hooks are just on a hill or just in the middle of nowhere where you can't really body block a killer. You can maybe mitigate them for a second or two as they try to navigate around you. But if you're in a wide open field, it's pretty hard to effectively body block someone like that. You can do it. I'm just saying it's just really, really hard to do. But let's say it's worst case scenario. Let's say you are on one of those maps where the killer can just straight up, or the killer cannot get past the person that is body blocking them, and that person has their bar time still up. So as a killer, you really only have 2 options. The first option is just wait out the person's borrowed time, down them, and pick them up again and hope they don't have DS. The problem is nowadays, it seems like most people that do that do have DS, where it used to be in the past, if they had it, it almost didn't really matter that much, because essentially if they were body blocking, it would be that they couldn't get to a safe area to make use of the very short duration DS. Very short duration DS, you had to kind of run to like a tile or a window or a pallet or something. But if you're just body blocking, you're typically just staying right in the killer's face. You're not in a very safe area. So if you got that short 3-second DS, you likely weren't going to get anywhere safe. But now since it lasts longer, there are more opportunities for that. So I don't really think this is the correct play anymore. Usually you could just wait, and then it basically gave you a moral permission to tunnel that guy because he had no defense against it and he sort of asked for it. But I've never really thought that's the best thing to do, especially right now. So there is a secret technique you can do. If somebody tries to body block you with their borrowed time and you assume that they have decisive strike based on this behavior, there is something you can do. And not a lot of people know about it. That's the point of this video. So if you see the unhook happen and you see the unhooker starting to run away in the opposite direction and you see the unhooker getting in position for the body block, so you can do this thing where you hit them. You just hit the person that body blocks and then continue chasing the person that unhooked them. I know, it's a very forbidden technique. And every time I say this, people go, oh, well, they took a hit. The other guy's long gone now. No, they're not. The only reason holding W seems so strong, or is so strong, is the speed boost you get when you hit someone. If you were to hit the person that got unhooked and then chase them again and then they had DS, that would be a terrible scenario. But if you just hit a guy, immediately ignore him, and then go for the person that you were originally chasing again, that person, the only thing that changes is that person is 2 seconds further away. That's it. It's not like they got a huge speed burst. When you hit someone and they get a speed burst, they gain about 16 total seconds of distance on you. When you hit somebody else, but there's someone else adjacent running away from you, they're not getting that speed boost. So the only thing that happens is they're running away for 2 seconds. It's not even the 2.7 seconds of a full killer cooldown because you're not immobile while you're wiping your weapon. You can still move forward, albeit at a very slow rate. So that mitigates some of that 2.7. Basically, they're 2 seconds further ahead in the chase than they would be previously. It's really not that much of a distance. So that is always the correct counterplay when someone with DS is trying to offensively body block using their borrowed time right after they get the hook. Just hit them. They have to mend. At the very least, you bought yourself 12 seconds of them having to mend, and they're useless. And they might even try to save their DS and still not touch your gen or still not heal for a long time. So either way, there's still, even if you don't end up downing the person that got the unhook, you are still buying yourself some time in some way. That's the worst case scenario. But again, every time I see this happen, I will just hit the guy, and the other guy is still right there. He's not that far away. I think that's the main thing people keep forgetting, is that if you're not hitting someone, they don't really gain that much distance in 2 seconds. It's, it'll probably take you 5 more seconds to catch up to that distance that you lost. It's not that big of a deal. So if people are offensively using Decisive Strike, I know this video is a bit of a meme, just hit them and ignore them. They can't body block once you hit them. They've lost all their collision. Just go and chase the first guy again. You're not going to be that far behind on the chase. Now, 1 in 10 times or something, will it make it so that extra few seconds gets them to a window or a pallet they wouldn't have made to? Sure. I'm not going to pretend that doesn't happen, but it doesn't change the fact the correct play every time is to just hit the guy that's trying to body block and then continue chasing the first guy. Unless you know that the first guy doesn't have Decisive Strike because he used it already, then by all means, tunnel the shit out of that guy. Free kill. But typically people won't play that cocky once they've used up their second chance perk. So that's it. That's really the true counterplay there. I know this seems like a super obvious video, but I see a lot of people getting really upset, and it can be frustrating if you don't know what to do because they're trying to navigate around the body block, but they're just losing so much more time. Just don't fuck with any of that. Just hit him, chase the first guy. Easy as hell. That's it. Thanks for watching.